To begin this video, I'm going to read a comment to you that I recently got on one of my other videos, and you'll understand in a minute why I'm reading it to you. So, Infotech Yeti says, "Great channel. I have learned so much from your videos. My experience as a new homeowner with the HVAC tech from a nearby medium-sized company was not great. They were nice, but they did not address our original reported issue of a harsh burning plastic smell, and he tried to tell us we needed a new furnace. If he were a good and honest tech, he would have told us that the blower motor was no good and needed to be replaced along with the wheel and capacitor. After he replaced our filters, he did more selling than fixing. He took more time to sell us on a yearly membership of $400, a UV light, and a condensation pump. Of course, I didn't go with any of it, but it was odd that he took more time with that than anything else. In the end, he wanted to get us a free quote for a new furnace. When I asked him what model furnace we had, he kept silent and was not certain." I've actually got a lot of similar comments like this before, so I thought I'd finally make a video and address this. By the way, if you have a similar experience to what I just read in the beginning of the video, it would be awesome if you could share your story in the comments below as education and a heads up for the rest of us. In the case of Infotech Yeti, the guy that came to his house to look at his furnace probably was pretty fresh. He was a new technician, because if you've been in the trade for at least a couple of years, you would likely know if you come into a house and you smell a burnt plastic smell, that most likely that blower motor is burnt out. But I wouldn't really blame the technician himself for this, because the root cause goes a little bit deeper. Unfortunately, there's many companies out there that are more sales driven than repair driven, meaning that every time they come out to a house, they're a lot more interested in selling you something, optimally a brand new unit, than actually repairing your furnace or your air conditioner. And every technician that they hire, they educate and train in this similar fashion so that they will be more sales-oriented than repair-oriented. So it's very likely that the guy that came out to his house had more training in sales than in actual repair work. And how do I know this? I'm glad you asked. It's because when I just started off my career, for the first year of my career, I ended up in a company like that was sales-focused. I wouldn't call them scammy or anything. It was a good company, but they were focused on sales. Everything was sell, 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 sell. Every technician was urged to sell UV lights and electronic air filters, humidifiers, surge protectors, high voltage upgrades, etc., etc. And if the furnace or air conditioner was over 8 years old, then they highly recommended that we offer a brand new furnace or air conditioner to every single customer. But I do need to point out that all of these things that we were selling, they weren't actually bad things. It's good stuff, but they're considered add-ons. The furnace and air conditioner could work just fine without them. So if you have the extra money and whatever they're offering sounds good, then just go for it. But for most of us, having to pay a few extra thousand for a repair call, that's a bad day. In my experience, the top 3 things people overpay for during a service call is 1. Add-ons, like those UV lights and whole house humidifiers. 2 is electronic air filters or HEPA filters. If they have media or filter material, people don't realize this, but those filters can cost like $120 a piece. So if you have to replace that 2 or 3 times a year, that really racks up. It's like an expensive gift that keeps on giving. And number 3 is the worst case scenario, and that is when somebody is talked into buying a whole new furnace or air conditioner, believing that it can't be fixed, when in reality, it could have been fixed. I'm a repair guy myself, and honestly, the prices overall have been skyrocketing, so I understand that companies need to charge the diagnosis fee, the trip fee, the parts fee, and the markups and all of that to make a living. But the companies out there that are ripping people off and charging astronomical prices are giving a bad reputation for the whole HVAC industry. So for those of you that want to save money and get fair pricing whenever they get a repairman out, I've made a list of tips to help you make that happen. The first and most important tip is to simply do the repair yourself if you are able to do so. Many of the repairs on furnaces and air conditioners are actually pretty simple to do, and there's plenty of YouTube channels out there, including my own, that will show you step by step how to do the repair, how to troubleshoot, and how to diagnose your unit. Doing it yourself will by far save you the most money. But if you can't do it yourself, or you would just rather call someone out, then one important thing you could do is get an itemized receipt or diagnosis with a list of all the repairs that they will be doing and all the parts that they will be replacing. If you're not in an urgent situation where you need the furnace or air conditioner repaired immediately that day, when you get the estimated repair price and it seems outrageous to you, then I would definitely suggest hiring another company and getting a second opinion and maybe even a third and a fourth opinion before you go ahead and do the repair. Another good thing to do is to do some research online about what may be wrong with your furnace or air conditioner. Even if you're not planning on working on it yourself, it's good if you're not totally blind as to what's going on with your system, so that when the people come out, you can at least kind of know what they're talking about. Another good thing to confirm is whether there's warranty or not on the work done or the part replaced, so that once your unit is repaired, if the very next day it stops working, you can call them back out to take a look at it again at no charge. And here's a tip that should be common sense, but I feel like I should still say it. If the technician coming to your house is not rude in any way, they're polite, they have good manners, then do your best to have a good attitude as well. Because even a good technician can become less willing to work with you if you're overly pushy, aggressive, and demanding. Of course, if their attitude sucks right out the bat, then just behave as you see fit. And the last tip is to get an explanation of the full diagnosis of what's going on with your system, what needs to be repaired or replaced, so that you fully understand what's going on. Don't be afraid to keep asking questions until you understand. A good technician should be able to explain to a customer what's going on. If they give you vague answers and right away try to sell you a new furnace, then that's a red flag immediately. And if there's other helpful tips that I missed, please let us know what those are in the comments below. But before you go, I have one last question for you. What really is the difference between a motel and a hotel? I asked my brother this same question about a week ago, and I'm kind of wondering if you had the same response as him. He launched into about a minute-long explanation of how a motel is for cars and drivers, basically like a one-night stand. You're on a road trip and you just stop by. They're usually cheaper. Hotels are more expensive and for extended blah, blah, blah. I interrupt him and I say, Peter, bro, the main difference is the first letter.